Well, good morning guys. You join me back down at St Ives fishery. It's been a while since my last trip down here, nearly 6 weeks now. Haven't fished at all for the last couple of weeks because it's been red hot and the fish have been off and on spawning, so I thought I'd let them get that out of the way and wait for the weather to cool down a bit. So it's nice to get back down. I've not had a lot of sleep, so I'm very tired. I got to bed about midnight last night, but I was out the door by 2 to get here for first light, to hopefully try and find some fish. So I started off when I got here, walking around big fjords and little fjords. I did see a fish show in big fjords, but I stood there for about half an hour and didn't see anything else, so I thought I'll have a look round Meadow. If I can't find anything, I could always go back to that swim in big fjords. Did have a quick look round shallow as well, but I wanted to be on Meadow or the fjords, so I went back down to the bottom end of Meadow on Lancaster Point. Didn't really see anything. I went up to the other end of Meadow and I saw a couple show along the road bank and towards Lancaster Point, so back down, had another look at Lancaster Point and I decided to come on a swim in the middle of the road bank that's between here and the park and ride and a lagoon. A swim I have fished once before, only ever done a night in here, and fished short then. The fish in here when I came in here were showing long, so I'm fishing long this time. So I mean, I'm sort of just got in a swim, haven't even got the rods out yet, but there are a few fish showing out there at range. So I'm going to get the rods out now in a minute. And hopefully I can nick one before they notice I'm even here, but we'll see how it goes. But it's great to be back down. Been too long really. Been missing the place, so hopefully it won't be too long and maybe I can share a fish with you guys. It'd be nice to get up and running. Been a tough spring, I haven't done a lot of time, you know, it's only really my second session on Meadow. So hopefully, if they have spawned, which I think they have recently, there was definitely a few having to go last week on here, all the other lakes have spawned. So hopefully got out of the way on here and hopefully they'll get on the munch and I can get the first fish of the season. So I'm going to stop waffling on now and I'll update you guys as and when, and if something happens. If not, I'll update you tonight. So until later on guys, cheers guys. Well guys, it's about dinner time now on the first day. Just got my rods out, got sorted and settled, just had my first cup of tea. Been up since 2 o'clock this morning, got here at 4, and like I said, it's dinner time now and I'm just having my first cup of tea. It's been a bit manic this morning. I literally cast my first rod out, just a single. Within 10 minutes before I'd even got my second rod out of the rod bag, that was away. Unbelievable fight. Took loads of line off me, and I ended up landing 31 pound 4 ounce mirror. Unbelievable. All them blank hours sat here, you know, nights spent here, and cast out in 10 minutes, one on the bank. It's just, the fish were here, I found them. They were in range. I said the biggest key on any water, especially a big water like this, is location. You get that right and things like that can happen. It's unbelievable fish, because I can't believe it really. But I'll give you guys a look at that fish now. Oh guys, first fish of the year for me out of St Ives. 31 pound 4 ounces. Absolutely stunning mirror carp. Solid, unbelievable fight, just would not come in. An angry male, which I imagine has just spawned. Got a couple of knocks on the other side, so what a start. Found some fish, put a single hook bait on them, and away it went. FSB, cork ball, doing the business. Give you guys a look at the other side. What a fish. Happy with that one. Let's get him back.
Like a bird on a tree, I'm just sitting here. I got time, it's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together. It's so beautiful, you and me. We meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free. Sometimes you need to go and take a step back to see the truth around you. From a distance you can tell. You and me, we're meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free. You and me, meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free.
As you can see guys, unbelievable fish. Over the moon with that one. It's great to get up and running, and so early on in a session, and it's still a bit of a blur and still taking it in. Yeah, cloud 9 is brilliant. You know, any fish out of here is really hard earned and just an absolute pleasure to catch. It's not an easy water, not a faint-hearted. Like I said, it's all them blank hours well worth it when you put a fish on the bank. So I'm going to chill out and relax for a bit, soak in the atmosphere, take that all in, and you never know, hopefully another one will come along, you know, if they haven't moved off out of the area. But as always, like I said, on these waters, location is key. Get that right and that's half the jigsaw. You know, very often you find them, but they're not in areas you can actually get a hook bait to them. But after seeing them fish out there, I knew I just had to get some rods out, and all it took was putting a single in the right place, 10 minutes, and that's all it was. You know, as they say, 10 minutes in the right place is better than 24 hours in the wrong place. So. But there you are guys, so until later on, probably tomorrow, I'll update you then. Cheers guys. Well, good morning guys. Feeling a lot better this morning, more refreshed after having a decent night's sleep. Got up early this morning to watch the water after having an early night, and I didn't really see anything. It's very quiet. So about 5:30, 6 o'clock, I thought I'd get my head back down for another hour, lay down, just about drifting off, and had an absolute one-toner. So out of bed, waders on, in the water, picked the rod up, and it just kept going and going. Took an unbelievable amount of line off me. Luckily there's no buoys or anything out there, so nothing to get tangled in, so I could just let it go. So it's absolutely mental scrap. Eventually got it in. Another angry male. Stunning fish. £27, 3 ounces. And what a session really, you know, not even 24 hours in yet and 2 fish on the bank. Unbelievable really. So I'll give you guys a look at that fish now. Well guys, second fish of the session. Another absolutely stunning Meadow mirror, £27, 3 ounces. What a session this is turning out to be. Just on the first night, so not even 24 hours in, and 2 fish. Unbelievable. The other side. Cream start. Getting back. There she is. Final look at the other side. There you are guys, another unbelievable meadow creature. Long, lean, dark fighting machine. You know, every fish in this water is just a pleasure to catch. It's unbelievable, you know, we sort of can't really explain to people, you know, the difference between catching them here. You know, it's, you're really pitting your wits against nature. These waters, you know, low stock, big water. The fish don't need bait, they've got plenty of food, they're growing massive naturally. They don't come out every day, and the feeling between this and just catching them from, you know, say a day ticket is it's just light and day. It's absolutely love it down here, and you know, spent a long time blanking, and you know, then blank nights start racking up and you start questioning why you're doing it. But it's for moments like this and sessions like this. And I'm sure I'll come straight back down to earth pretty quickly, and if that's all I have for this session, then I'm very, very happy, you know. You know, the fish don't come around every day on here. So yeah, I'm just sort of a bit of a blur at the minute, just sort of taking it in, but I'll give you guys a look around the swim in a bit and give you a look at the bait I'm using and tactics, and made a slight rig change for this session, and I'll talk through that. Hopefully the road noise behind me isn't too bad, you know, and you can hear me okay. You know, you get used to it when you're in the swim, but it's just part and parcel of fishing on this bank, but for now guys, until later on, cheers guys. Well guys, that's another night done. It's just a quick update really. Since that fish yesterday morning, it's been very quiet. I did see a few fish showing out in the middle yesterday afternoon, out in front of me, but they were well out of range. Nothing yesterday evening, very quiet night. But this morning I did see one show right over top of my middle rod, another one just to the left. I was starting to get a few liners as well, but didn't materialise into anything. And then about dinner time, it obviously moved back out into the middle. I did see one or two again out in the middle, so the plan is to redo the rods in a bit, fresh hook baits, a bit more bait over the top, and sit and wait and hope they come back tomorrow morning. I'm not seeing no fish anywhere else, so there's no point in moving. If I do see them in a different area of the lake, then I will move without doubt, but at the moment I think it's just sit on my hands. I'm still very, very confident that I could produce another fish. It's a case of just sitting and waiting. I think what they're doing is in the day they're sitting out in the middle, and then in the mornings they're just drifting in, having a bit of a feed, and then drifting back out late morning, dinner time-ish. Like, there was definitely fish over me this morning. There's a good chance they might have cleared me out without actually picking hook bait up, but that seems to be their pattern at the moment. Until it changes, you might as well just sit here and just try and pick them off as they drift in. So that kind of brings us up to date really. There's not many showing, you know, it's just the odd fish really, but I do think I'm probably in a good position here. I will keep looking each day, and if I need to move I will, but hopefully I can still nick another fish. But if not, like I said, I'm very happy with what I've already had, you know, 2 fish in a session. Doesn't happen too often. I'm hoping they have recently spawned, they're hungry, so I've given them a little bit of bait. The first fish came on a single, but that afternoon probably put half, 3/4 of a bucket of particle and boilie in, and I had a fish the following morning, so I do think they want a bit of food. It's just getting that food where they're happy to feed. It's looking good, weather's good, you know, it's not too hot, pretty overcast, pressure's fairly low. So yeah, confidence is high, so So I'm going to get the rods done now in a minute, and then I'll update you probably tomorrow morning, hopefully with a fish, but if not, I'll catch you in the morning. Cheers guys. Right guys, I'll just talk you through the bait for the session. Starting with a spod mix. There's maple peas, buckwheat and chopped tiger. And then to that I've added FSB dumbbell boilies, which have been soaked in the matching liquid food complex. That's my spod mix, that's what I'm feeding. Quite large items. There's a lot of naturals about at the minute and they seem to be eating everything pretty quickly, so I've gone for quite large, quite solid items. So keep it out in the swim as long as possible, and then over top of that I'm fishing a hinge stiff rig with a 15mm FSB cork ball pop up. The reason I've gone for a pop-up and a cork ball is because I'm putting it out there and it's staying out there for minimum 24 hours. And like I said, the naturals are pretty ravenous at the moment, and when I'm using a cork dust wafter, when I reel that in after a night in the lake, a lot of that bait has been eaten. Obviously that affects how it's sitting on the rig, and plus if they eat too much of it and it comes off, then I'm not fishing at all. So that's why I've opted for the cork ball, and that basically is the tactics I'm using, and that's what's caught me them first couple of fish. Okay, the first one came on just a single cork ball, and then the second one's come over the bait. So there we are guys, that's a look at my bait and what I'm doing on this session. So until later on guys, cheers guys. Right guys, I'll just give you a little look at the swim. It's a tight little swim, so I'll do the best I can. Starting with how you get down into it. So basically, there's my car there. It's a roadway up towards the lakes, and over that way, just the other side of that lorry, is the park and ride. So we get over this fence, just come down this bank, then we come into the swim. So it's a tight little swim, my bivvy there. There's not enough room to put the rods in the actual pegs, so they have to go in the water just down there. I'll just come over here. Last time I fished it I did bivvy up just up here, because as you can see it's very slopey and it's started to overgrow again, so I put it in the swim this time. Plus the water is down. The last time, if I'd have put my bivvy there, it would have been in the water. And just this side of the swim, so I'll come out into the water. Got the yacht club over there. As far as you can see that way, there's a little bay that goes right back round that corner as well. We've got this massive expanse of water, which is obviously Meadow. Just down over there, just there, is the gap through to little fjords. And then if you come round over there is a gap into big fjords and stake pit. It's a massive expanse of water. Got my distance sticks there. Like I said, it's all a bit tight, everything you do in this swim. So I'll walk through to where my bivvy is. As you can see, Lovely little swim. Can be a bit noisy with the road in the week because all the lorries going up and down towards the gravel works. But you soon get used to that. You're down below the road, so he's kind of thrown it out after a while. You just don't really notice it's even there, to be honest. I said rods there and out, and then obviously you've got to cast them in the water. This is as far as I can walk out, because any further than this and I'm off the marginal shelf. Then I've got 3 rods fishing out there, long range. Not going to say exactly where, I'll keep a few secrets for myself. But put 3-inch stiff rigs out there, put quite a bit of bait out, particle and boilie. I said the fish are just sitting off the back of me, just hoping they're going to drift in. Now and again I can pick 1 or 2 off. I mean, I could pump singles even longer, but I think if I do that, there's every chance I could push them fish out of the area altogether, or even further out into the lake, and then no chance of catching them. The only option would be to move. So there you are, guys. Let's a little look at my swim. So I'll come back up and out the water. So until later on, guys. Cheers, guys. Well, guys, that's another night done. It's been a couple of frustrating days. The fish are definitely still out there. They're just sitting off the back of me. Not really far from the spots, but now and again they seem to be drifting towards me, but they're not staying there long at all. You know, they seem to be there for like half an hour in the morning, and they're drifting further and further out towards the middle. Now I could go slightly longer to try and reach them fish, but the last thing I want to do is push them even further out into the pond, or possibly even move them away from the area altogether. So I've just got to sit on my hands, hope things come good, and keep a bit of bait going in, keep some fresh rigs going in each day, and hopefully they'll turn up and can still nick another fish in this session. I just want to talk about why I've changed my rig for this session. As people who follow me on YouTube, and people obviously know me, know I'm a combi rig fan, and I pretty much use that for 99% of my fishing. The only reason I change rigs is for one of 2 reasons. Either it's very weedy or very snaggy and I want something a little bit more robust, and I'll change the components or change the rig altogether, or if I'm fishing at distance. Because the problem is with the combi rig, you either need to put a PVA foam nugget on or a PVA stick, and that, because it will tangle, and that will cut down your distance. You can't take the risk of tangling. You're sitting in the water for 24 hours at a time. You can't have a tangled rig, and obviously if you're going for distance, the last thing you want is a stick or a PVA foam nugget. So then I either go to a hinge stiff rig or a fluorocarbon D-rig, stiff fluorocarbon D-rig. So basically that's the only time I change, and that's the reason I've changed to that rig. Obviously the reason I've gone to a pop-up I spoke about a little bit earlier is just because the naturals are just eating through everything that's on the deck at the minute, so it just, I know I'm fishing for as long as it's out there with a cork ball, so that's why I'm on the pop-up rather than a wafter. Basically my rigs though, my stiff D rig and my hinge stiff rig are still big point hooks. I'm a massive fan of big point hooks. I don't think you convert as many pickups into full-blown takes because they do get away with it more, but if you do hook one, it tends to stay on. Straight points will hook them quicker and hook them more often, but you can hook them anywhere and can lead to hook pulls. So a big point is for me, if I hook a fish I want to land it. So basically I need to use a choddy hook with the stiff materials of hinge stiff rig and my sort of slip D, my D rig even, because of the stiff material. Like I'm using a stiff fluorocarbon for the D rig and obviously a choddy filament stiff fluorocarbon for the hinge stiff rig. So I need to use a choddy hook, but that's still big points. So basically the only difference between that and my normal wide gape is it's an outturned eye rather than an inturned eye. The only other thing I do is I use a sharpened hook. I either buy them or sharpen them myself. If I'm fishing a day ticket water inspecting a lot of takes, then I'll probably buy some because it saves me hours of sharpening hooks. But I do think it makes a massive difference. You know, people can argue it as much as they like, but that's my opinion, is it definitely puts you more fish on the bank. Sharp hook, goes in, stays in, goes in quickly, gets to that barb, and that's what you need it to do. So like I said, I sharpen them myself. I'll just give you a little video of how quick and easy that is to do now. So as you can see guys, it's pretty easy, pretty simple to do, you know, with a little bit of practice. If you're not confident in doing it yourself, then it's worth buying them. There's plenty of companies out there that do them, you know, sharpen for you. The only difference is it's going to cost you a little bit more money. Sharpen them yourself, you know, get every hook right and it saves you a bit of money. It just takes a bit of time, bit of practice. It's definitely well worth doing. It's a massive edge. You know, I do it. You know, I've tried it with and without. You know, I've done it for years, but in my opinion, it's definitely something that catches me more fish. I've noticed an improvement ever since I've started sharpening and using sharpened hooks. I even do it on day tickets. Like you could use just a normal hook at the packet on day tickets, so you can reuse it. But for the price of a hook, you might as well change the hook each time. Like, you know, if you want to save a bit of time, just buy some sharpened hooks. But that's sort of it really guys, sort of brings you up to date. It sort of explains why I'm using the rigs I'm using. You know, I love the combi rig I use, but for distance it's not the one, and in thick weed and snaggy conditions, or you know, somewhere it's got a lot of P muscles, swan muscles, that sort of thing, and it's not the one really. It's, you need to up your material strength You know, I can still use a combi rig with a strippable braid if need be to up that strength, but the distance is either this one, the old hinge stiff rig. It's just my version of it. I will go into that at some point and show you how I tie that, etc. But hinge stiff rig, cork ball pop up, which I make these for spar baits in the range. But apart from that, you know, it's that or a fluorocarbon stiff D rig. Use a thick fluorocarbon and like steam that straight on a D on a choddy. You need to use a like choddy hook, obviously, because the thickness will close up the size of the gape of the hook, because it'll be bending back towards the hook point and that hinders hooking, so you need an outturned eye for a thick fluorocarbon. But using that will stop tangles pretty much completely. So, you know, as long as you clip up or feather it down, however you fish, you shouldn't get any tangles. So there you go, guys, that's enough for me waffling on about rigs and all the rest of it, and hopefully I'll update you in the morning. Hopefully these fish will turn up and I can nick another one. So until later on, guys, cheers guys. Well, good morning guys, that's it. Session's just about drawn to a close now. We'll start packing away shortly. It's been a session of two halves really. Started off unbelievable and sort of faded out. I think catching them two fish early on possibly pushed the fish just that little bit further out into the pond, and they didn't really come back. They sort of, every now and again they'd drift over me, but they weren't there for long. And I think if I'd chased them singles further out, I think I'd have pushed them out of the area altogether. But I'm absolutely over the moon. If you'd said before the session you'd have two fish early on, I'll take that every single day of the week. It's a fantastic result for this water. Hopefully I'll be back down soon and I can maybe nick another fish or two. But it's been a thoroughly enjoyable session. You know, having a fish early on meant I could relax, chill out a little bit. But yeah, just nice to get up and running. So that's it really guys. Hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please subscribe to my channel. But for now, and until later on, it's tight lines for me. Bye for now. Cheers guys.
Like a bird on a tree, I'm just sitting here. I got time clear to see. From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together